Hi, it's a wealthy expat here in Sweden, the capital Stockholm, in one of the highest tax countries in the world. And that's an interesting topic so that you can avoid some countries that have higher taxes or very strong laws that will prevent you from ever leaving that country. If you have a company in Sweden and you want to take it to Dubai, it is a hassle. And you do need to pay a lot of exit tax and you need to pay a lot of taxes that you might not think about if you're coming from a country outside of here. So what are the highest tax countries in the world? Are they worth that high tax rate? And should you even consider these countries to spend some time, because you might get trapped in the tax net? The first country, the one that most people don't think about, it is the Ivory Coast, Côte d'Ivoire. It's in Africa. We're not going to talk about it that much because most people don't want to go live in the Ivory Coast, but they have personal income tax rates about 60% for a horrible quality of life. I've been to Africa a couple of times. I didn't like it at all. Overall, it is not worth it. So you might not even consider that. You're probably not even looking at that country. You might not even know where it's located on the map. The second country, which is very close to Sweden, it's actually their neighbor, is Finland. They have a tax rate about 56% on personal income. On top of corporate income, you could pay capital gains taxes. So you might be paying over 60% of your taxes to the government. And yes, Finland and countries like Sweden and Norway, they're the highest tax countries in the world, to be honest. Like on this list of the top 7 high tax countries, a lot of them are in Northern Europe or Scandinavia. Is it worth it to have those tax rates? For example, Finland works really well. It's a beautiful country. I've been there many times. I love it. The people are really nice, but they're some of the most depressed in the world. Finland has one of the highest suicide rates in all of the world. And that comes maybe due to the way society works, maybe due to their socialist tendencies, but it also might be due because people that make a lot of money there feel like their money's taken away from them. And all they want to do is leave the country and move to places like Dubai or move somewhere else where their money is respected and not taken away by the government. Because these tax authorities in these high tax countries in Scandinavia and Western Europe, they are very aggressive. Sometimes they're even more aggressive than the IRS in the United States, which is one that you don't want to mess with. The third place, which is actually on a whole other region of the world, but it's also extremely aggressive. They take people to prison for slight tax mistakes. They are extremely strong in their tax policies, is Japan. You have a tax rate about 55.9% on personal income. If you want to do capital gains, it's about 55%. So you're really losing more than half of your money. And when you combine many things, if you want to run a business in Japan, if you pay yourself a personal income and you're doing crypto in Japan, you're constantly paying taxes on all of that. You could pay 65%, maybe even higher on total taxes in Japan. Japan is obviously a very futuristic society. It's very well developed. I loved my time. I spent a month in Tokyo, absolutely loved it. But to pay more than, even way more than half of your income, of everything you make, of any capital gains, of any crypto that you have, just to live in Japan, I don't really see it to be worth it. And if you're looking for, let's say, a second citizenship, and maybe you're thinking, oh, taxes are a way to, or a cost in order to get a better second citizenship, Japan is extremely hard to get a citizenship, extremely hard to get a residence permit. So probably not a country that you're looking at moving to. And if you do spend some time in Japan, be careful. If you spend more than 6 months, you will be paying over half of your income. The next country, which I personally know people, I have clients in, and also I have clients in Finland and I have clients in Japan. Ivory Coast, not so much, but this one I have a lot of clients, is Denmark. Danish taxes are insane and they're extremely complicated. I personally know people that are making about 3 to 5 million a year and they pay 64% tax total. They have a tax rate of about 55.8, 55.9% on personal income. With business taxes, with capital gains taxes, you're really looking at 60-something% tax. And I know personally people and some of my clients that are paying more than 60% tax in Denmark. Copenhagen, great city. Denmark overall, great country, but totally not justified. If you were to compare it to a place like Stockholm, for example, I compare it to Copenhagen, I would say overall Stockholm feels like it's more worth it. If I had to choose between one of these like 60% tax rates, I would probably choose Stockholm. I'm going to talk about Sweden now because it is the 6th highest tax country in the world. And they are really one of those countries that I would say it's more worth it than the others. The next one would be Sweden. Sweden is around 53%, 54% tax rate on personal income. And you really pay a lot of taxes. Even people that don't make that much, let's say you make 200, 300,000 a year, you still pay a ton in taxes. And if you're making multiple millions, if you're doing capital gains, if you're running a business in Sweden, like I said, if you run a business in Sweden, you want to move it to a place like Dubai, good luck. You're going to pay a lot of taxes. You're going to have a lot of hassle in that process. And I have a lot of Swedish clients, actually. I have my main demographic, I would say in all of Europe would be Swedes and Danes, basically, would be the top clients that I have, just because the taxes are so aggressive. And people want to leave this country. They love it. Overall, the quality of life here is amazing, even though the weather sucks. But they want to leave it because they're paying more than 60% tax on all of their income. And it's quite damaging to their business, their growth, their crypto and all of that. So overall, the tax rate here, I would say, like I said, if I had to pick a country with extremely high tax rates, I would probably pick Sweden just because it's one of my favorites. The next one would be Austria with about, let's say, a 52, 53, it could go up to 55% personal income tax rate on top of their business taxes, the capital gains taxes. But in Austria, there are ways of lowering some tax, and it is a country that it's a little bit easier to get away from. Yes, they have a very aggressive tax system, and I don't really have many Austrian clients, but I've heard many Austrian people are moving to Dubai or places like Portugal to lower their taxes, so it is pretty aggressive. So if you do spend time in Vienna or Austria, or you're just like skiing in Austria, make sure you don't spend more than 6 months a year and you don't build a lot of ties to Austria. And the last country that I'll talk about here, because they're pretty much in the same bracket of tax rates, all the next countries that are gonna come after, and it would be Belgium. I have been to Belgium, I've talked to a lot of people in Belgium. Yes, they pay a lot in taxes, but there are some loopholes, there are some ways of paying less tax. I know a lot of people from France, they tend to move to Belgium to pay a little bit less in tax, even though that will be going away soon. Overall, in Belgium, it's not that hard to lower your taxes and it's not that hard to leave. Yes, it's a very aggressive tax system, but when you compare it to countries like Sweden or Austria or Denmark, it is a little bit easier to lower that tax rate. So overall, and it's funny how all of these countries are located in Europe, except Japan and the funny one, which is Ivory Coast in Africa. But all of these are located in the European Union. And a lot of people say European Union countries, compared to the United States, for example, Europe has way higher taxes. But you also get something from those taxes. In the US, you really don't get anything when you pay 40, 45% tax. Here, even though it's a socialist society, I'm not really in line with their values overall on how the society works and how it develops and how it encourages business owners to basically not grow that much. In Sweden, there's a phrase, it's called lagom. Basically means you have enough, and businesses are not encouraged to make hundreds of millions and billions. There's big companies here like Spotify, IKEA, and so on, but they're not really encouraged to make bigger numbers just because the tax rates are so high. Running a business here has a lot of restrictions, and overall, it's quite tough to build a big business, but you get something from your taxes. You get, I wouldn't say really good healthcare, but at least you get healthcare, and you get a very high quality of life, good quality food as well compared to the United States, and overall, a better sense of the government at least is using your tax money for something. Of course, there are many other countries around the world with very high tax rates, but those are the top ones. If you're from one of these countries, comment below, are the taxes that high? Are they that restrictive, and do they make your life absolutely terrible? And if you're looking to lower your taxes, pay zero tax, whether you come from Europe or you come from the UK or the US or Canada or Australia or wherever in the world where you're paying high taxes. Check the video that's gonna pop up right here, how to lower your taxes in less than 30 days by starting a company in Dubai and getting a residence permit in Dubai and lowering your taxes down to zero. And if you want help with all of this, lowering your taxes down, click that first link in the description, book a call with me, and we'll go through the exact process that you need to lower your taxes. Subscribe, hit that notification bell, the like button. I'm the Wealthy Expat. I'll see you on the next one.